Hello everyone who's just ready to paint their talons grey. I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths. And what is probably going to be the last campaign commentary for a while, because this is the Grey Talons one. The last one before I actually crack into a proper godly need to playthrough, because by gum that's overdue. And I think my metal fleet is about as ready as it's ever going to be. If there needs to be more stuff done with it, we'll have to do it as we go, as tends to be the case with campaigns. And so, it's an excellent start, because what happens here is that our starting thing doesn't have repair tentacles on it, which means we can't build another thing. And this was a weird little... This is a weird little campaign. I do feel that these little mini-campaigns, with one faction only, have perhaps been a bit neglected. It turns out it was not Ashes of the Empire that was neglected, it was not Glau, it wasn't even the Christmas campaign, it was these little mini ones, because they're really buggy. And it just kind of reveals a fundamental problem with the way that campaigns work in From the Depths, is that the AI can't produce new cargo craft. Or at least it doesn't seem to be able to, or at least it doesn't prioritize doing it. Because in every single one of these things I've done, if you snipe the cargo craft early, you can prevent them trading resources around, and then they really can't do anything. They can't build anything big and scary. So I was really taking risks in this campaign that I really should not have been able to get away with. I took this... I took that resource zone like really early, and like literally nothing came to attack me. And this is on the hardest difficulty, by the way. You saw early in the footage. I clicked on the hardest difficulty, so they should have spawned waves of godlies. And yeah, I think that's also kind of the problem, is like for new players, campaigns are too hard, and for experienced players, campaigns are too easy. And so right here is the moment where it's like, oh wait, that's not one, that's two little trading craft. And somehow, like the Eagle's Nest, what the hell was it called? I forget what that actual HQ is called, which is embarrassing because I have fought it multiple times before. And this would have just sped up ×2 because both of these cargo craft just could not hit the Gremlin at all. It was a foregone conclusion. So yeah, Gremlin doing Gremlin things as it does, going pew pew pew. Poor Gremlin. It really is a starter craft, and the moment it rocks up to fights which are a bit too big for it, it's a bad time for it. Poor Gremlin. But two unarmed cargo craft, each one being, I think, only slightly more expensive than it is. That it can do just fine. You're not missing much. There is going to be a skip in the sped up footage here. It managed to kill the Cirrus and the Weaver, basically no problem. Although I really do need to... Actually, I'm going to make notes here. Because I do have some things to change with our little guy before we actually send it in. And one of them is I think I'm going to switch its ammunition to just Sabot Fin, because it's horribly inaccurate. So, Gremlin, switch ammo to Sabot Fin, because that has a very generous minimum accuracy. It's very nice. So yeah, at this point the Cirrus is like... I believe the Cirrus is one of the few Grey Talon craft that actually does rely on helium pumps to stay aloft. So the moment its compartments are penetrated, it just kind of falls into the water. It is also one of the most Zeppelin-y things that the Grey Talons have. I do like the Grey Talons. Their aesthetics is good. Alright, there's the Gremlin. What else? Probably also need to... Oh yeah, so Dragon Force. I'm just writing this to myself. Do wings. There we go. And yeah, Gremlin is just doing Gremlin things, and the Cirrus is just going for a swim, and I'm just kind of... Yeah, at this point I thought, like, alright, that's going to be too low and despawn, right? Nope, it is just light enough that it doesn't do that, so Gremlin has to pepper it a little bit more. It is very cinematic how the Gremlin does that. Maybe I should switch the ammo to, like, AP timed frag and Sabot Fin. I suppose we should do that. And AP timed frag, and it doesn't matter if the two guns have slightly different muzzle velocities because it's different. Alright, Gremlin is just gremlining. I do like the Hailstorm Gremlin. If nothing else, all this this extended preparation time building an entire new fleet. Mostly. There's some things in there that are just kind of a rush job. It's just kind of like, ah, damn it, I need to chuck that in there. Because that's a risk with, like, a big campaign playthrough in From the Depths, is, like, the risk is that you start and you never finish, and I've done that multiple times. Like, I'm not the only one either. A lot of people have started an FTD playthrough, and then they never quite finish it, because it turns out it's hard. Shock horror, this game is hard. Did you know? This game is hard. Or at the very least, complicated. Once you learn how to do it, it gets less hard. Especially once you learn all the ways that it's, like, kind of weirdly balanced. And once you learn the cheese... the delicious cheese, yum yum. So anyway, like, the one thing I do like about doing these little mini campaigns is, like, actually playing the campaign is very valuable for, like, actually building your craft. Like, it's not the first time I've said this, but, like, if you want to get better at the game and building, play the campaign. Like, really, just don't worry if you lose. You probably are going to lose the first time you do it. You will learn what you need to be prepared for, which is probably one of the most important things in From the Depths, is, like, learning what craft work well in a campaign setting and what doesn't. Like, your craft do not need to be 100% optimized to win a campaign. They need to be mostly good at least one or two things, and affordable. Like, if you can build a $2 million mega battleship, but, like, you're going to find out the hard way that if it's material inefficient, or just, I don't know, it's just inefficient overall, it's not going to be very helpful in a campaign setting. Like, the most effective campaign craft I've used, and that's going for playing Neater and, like, playtesting Platono, the custom campaign myself and my community are working on. Even custom campaigns like Caravonian Rebellion and stuff like that. The stuff that's really helpful is the stuff in the 100 to 300,000 material range. Because that's the stuff that it's strong enough to be, like, do decent damage and take a hit or two, but also affordable enough that you can have more than one of them. So they can bully swarms of smaller stuff, but they can swarm much larger stuff. So it really is a kind of a thought, really. That also depends on your build style, of course. Like, my build style seems to lean very much towards a craft has one main weapon type, and that's what it's good at, which is, like, yeah, mostly because I don't plan ahead well. I can plan for one weapon type, and that's about it. And then, like, you know, you ask me to, like, duct tape more onto that, and we're kind of doomed, aren't we? That's why I, like, made stuff that was just cram for so long. I remember those days. They were a more innocent time. And by innocent, I mean, like, why can't I hit the flying squirrel with cram? It's because that's not what cram is for, silly. Ah, boy. And unfortunately, this is one of the what's happening on screen right now, and to be fair, I didn't have to do this, I chose to, is that From the Depths, fights can take a really long time, and the campaign takes a really long time. The campaign is actually a very good, I guess it's a first screen game, but if you're actually playing it, it really helps to have something else going in the background. Maybe your own music, or a YouTube video, say by a From the Depths YouTuber of some kind, like, oh, hey, oh, and that was, yeah. So there's a thing I've started doing, which is, like, when I win, like, I just make the camera bounce up and down for joy, and then I give the triumphant vehicle a little pat-pat with the camera. I don't know, past me has fun, I guess. And this one I'm like, let's scout around a little bit. So it's just having the tool, just run around. And this I should not have been able to get away with this at all. The Grey Talons AI should have clapped me for this immediately. I did not deserve that money. They had a spare resource on there, and they weren't using it, and I just sat my 133 meters per second harvesting spacecraft on it, and yeah, just kind of grabbed it. I do sometimes wonder if the logistics in From the Depths could use another rethink. Because it is a little bit weird that you can harvest resources from space. Actually, it's a little bit weird that, I don't know, maybe it should be that only fortresses or structures can harvest materials. Nah, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. Actually, that's a fair question. Like, what would be a fairly easy way to make fortresses and structures actually worth it? Because honestly, most of the time they're not. They're, like, there for flavor, and that's it. But yeah, it's like, honestly, instead of a fortress, you could literally make a floating raft. And that would probably work just as well. Alright, so there was a bit of a jump. So what's happening there is that one of the main things I wanted to test in this camp was a cram brawler I've been working on and off. I was supposed to have... There was a whole Let's Build for a broadsiding, like, cram thing that fell apart because the breadboard glitched out and I needed to redo all of that from scratch, and I didn't want to, so it got canned. And the whole thing was just too expensive and overly complicated, so this cram brawler is much simpler. It is a frontsider, and originally was a lot bigger and more expensive. And then I removed half the turrets. It had 6, all facing forward, and now it has only 3. But they are big chunky crams, so that's helpful. And the thing I was thinking of when designing when building this cram thing, this cram brawler, was the Great Talons fortress craft, the HQ, of which they have multiple, because it's such a big damn thing and it takes so long to destroy. So I am very much a fan of not sitting and waiting, scratching your nose while the fortress takes like a million years to kill. That's not good. So what is cram good for? It's good at doing a lot of damage to targets that can't evade it. That's fortresses. And this is the first fight. This is only the second fight in this whole campaign, and we're taking on, what was it? An Aardvark refinery, I believe, is what it was called. I believe there was a thing called the... Isn't there another Great Talons thing called the Aardvark? And yeah, this fight did not last long. Before the Dawn just rolls in, blows things up with missiles. And I was deliberately pushing it this campaign. I was thinking, like, alright, let's be ballsy. Let's take risks. Let's make it interesting. And unfortunately, the AI was kind of just too slow to respond. Yep. Oh, those adorable little crams. I am a sucker for deck crams, I have to say. Deck crams are fun. Eh, boy. So now we've got a thing that is very much not flying, and is going to disintegrate any second now. Once again, large missiles to the rescue. Well, to my rescue. Certainly not to the Great Talons' rescue. So yeah, once again, having a thing that moves at 100 meters per second and just with large missiles on it works pretty damn well, honestly. And yep, Aardvark refinery. I swear there was a combat vehicle called the Aardvark that the Great Talons had. Am I missing something? So that was their one thing. I think there's another resource zone like somewhere to the south that they were trying to build on, but yeah, it's like they just didn't do it. Oh right, I basically surrounded every single Great Talons HQ with captured tiles. That was the jump cut because goodness knows that was not interesting to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna have to remember that for when I play the campaign on hardest. Is just have a very fast, cheap thing capture all the tiles. Because that would be very good. I need... As nice as the tool is, it is slightly too expensive to just be a spy plane. I probably need a dedicated spy plane that's basically the same thing but much cheaper. Because, yeah, just, you know, it's just very handy for capturing tiles. Because otherwise I have to get the gremlins to do it. And I love the gremlins, I really do. But they're not quite fast enough to capture tiles willy-nilly. And they're not quite fast enough to, like, escape really fast stuff. That being said, most things that can catch up to a gremlin are precisely the kind of thing it loves to shoot at, so... yeah, there you go, I guess. So yeah, like, this is just us trading, and what's happening here is that I've built a cram brawler, and I've built a... What the hell was it? Built a Dragon Force laser fighter jet. Well, laser fighter aircraft thing, I guess. Like, some people wouldn't want to call that a fighter jet at all, and... Yeah, unfortunately, what's happening here is it's what From the Depths looks like when you're playing it. It's like you have time sped up and you just are having things happen. And I don't know why I didn't have that sped up. I think I was doing stuff. Alright, so now we get to see the cram brawler, and it's called the Unbearable because I already have a name picked out for this thing. I'm good. Once it's finished to satisfaction, it's not 100% done. It needs smoke, it needs planar shields, and that kind of stuff. We're just going to call it the Gary Bearclaw. So Gary, because this is the... I think this is going to be the equivalent of... it doesn't have large missiles, but, you know, I have enough missile-y things in this fleet. But Bear Claw is a metal band, so thanks again to everyone who, when asked, supplied the names of, like, various metal bands. Very handy. And Bear Claw is, like, yeah, it's pretty decent. I actually went and listened to some of their stuff, and it's pretty good. And if they're problematic in any way, let me know. And it's like, oh, okay. I might change the name, but Gary Bear Claw is just such a fun name. And this thing does vibe like Gary. Gary is finally in the skies. Although, if people really want the... Alright, so I should probably explain for the people who don't know what the hell I'm talking about Gary. So back when I played through Nita on regular difficulty, Wood Canoe Nita, that series is called, I had a front-siding cram craft with a huge missile duct taped to it, and I built it live on stream, and I asked for name suggestions, and somebody said Gary. And it was so funny, we did it. We just called it Gary the Monitor. And the name stuck, and then there was a second iteration of Gary when I was playing through Steel Sovereigns and with the Pale Fleet. So, what was it? Snowman Gary, I believe that one was called. And again, pretty damn successful little design. Not optimal for the Metal Fleet, unfortunately. I don't think it would be ideal for Nita. Because it had great successes, it also had great failures. So yeah, like the latest iteration of Gary, not a ship. I think actually there was a kind of Gary evolution here, because the first Gary was an actual ship. The second Gary was a hydrofoil, a front-siding hydrofoil, which, honestly, don't see enough of those. They actually work really well. As far as, I don't know, it's the step between being in a ship and being in the air. And this Gary flies, because of course it does. And it's a front-sider that side strafes. And, yeah, it's just, you know, jolly good. It crams things, that's all it does. It's only armed with crams, and I'm a little bit hesitant about that. But then again, specialized craft are kind of fun, and this thing really only has one job, and that is to attack fortresses and structures. Because that's what crams are good for. Like, they are, it's really, in their gameplay sense, they're designed to, like, really murder surface targets, like fortresses, like structures, and yeah, like, if it flies, it does not die when crams roll up to it. And here is the Hotspur. I don't know what this thing is for. This might be the greatest challenge that the Gary Bear Claw has faced yet. And never mind, it disintegrated. Raven's Nest, that's what the bloody HQ is called. So, Raven's Nest takes approximately 1 billion years to kill with most weapons, just because it's so big and it's spaced out weird. But this Cram Brawler does manage it in a reasonable amount of time. Could do better, honestly. I don't know, like, folks, what do you reckon? What's the best fortress-killing weapon? Like, anything can kill a fortress like this, but, like, what do you reckon really does it quickly? I think crams do a pretty good job. We just, like, first volley knocked 3% health off. And yeah, Gary's missile defense needs a bit of work. Those little... I haven't even talked about the little spinny sticks. Those have decoys on them. They work okay. They could work better. Flares are not as good as they used to be, because missiles actually damage flares these days, and that's a pain in the butt, isn't it? So that didn't work, and I guess I could stick a lambs on here, maybe Seawards or something. I don't know. This has the feeling of a craft in which it's going to need a lot of doing over. Maybe a lambs would be a good idea. It is a little bit vulnerable to APS stacked. And annoyingly, this thing moves around so much, it's actually kind of bad against ships. It misses too much. And ships keep changing direction, trying to close into it. I actually shared this thing in my Patreon Discord, and one person, who, thank you everyone who gave feedback on it, said this thing keeps its distance too much. 1,000 meters is about as close as you want to be if you don't want to get shot in turn. That, unfortunately, is the trade-off for having evasive craft, is like, you miss sometimes. And this thing does alright. It can take on a bulwark, and it can actually take on a stronghold as well, even though it takes approximately 1 million billion years. It is so satisfying when a big cram cannon just penetrates like that and goes kablooey. And yeah, Raven's Nest is just scratching the paint. One of the great things about this craft actually is because it, like, strafes in a way that it, like, kind of waves from side to side. Damage is, like, kind of distributed really evenly over it, so it's kind of hard to sandblast. Penetrating shots? Yeah, no, those are a problem. And lots of block confetti. Oh, lots of delicious block confetti. Block confetti. Also, I actually wonder, I think, what the hell was I thinking? Am I crazy? I have a vague memory of, like, yeah, wasn't the Alchemist's Nest updated at some point? I wonder if these little mini-campaigns have ever been updated, like, with the new stuff. Maybe not. Anyway, this Cram Brawler, the Bear Claw, has too many eyes. It has 8 eyes. Maybe it should be called the Spider. You're gonna wanna check before you sit down on the dunny, mate. Otherwise there might be a spider in it. Hooray! Yum, yum, yum. Block confetti, yum, yum. Actually, funny thing about Crams, having watched... Oh, darn it, I just remember I haven't watched the latest thing of, like, the Dragon Slug Mark III fighting stuff over on Gmodism's channel. But, yeah, like, that really kind of was a bit of an eye-opening in terms of timed fuse Crams. It was like, actually, sometimes it's better not to have timed fuses on them. I might change things. I don't know, it's better against, it's weird. Sometimes it causes them to miss. It's literally hit or miss. It's like, sometimes they explode in a way that allows them to do some scratch damage, and sometimes they explode way too early, and it would have been a kill shot otherwise. Oh yeah, one of the most fun things about the Raven's Nest is that it has a huge, like, well, not a huge, I guess. It has that thing that's pointing underwater. Actually, thinking about it, fortresses and From the Depths never made a hell of a lot of sense. Like, physically, how do they work? Those are like... I don't know. There's no precedent for this. Maybe it would... I don't know. Here's a dumb idea. Should fortresses be removed from the game and replaced with stuff that actually, you know, obeys the laws of physics a bit? Not that anything in this game obeys the laws of physics. What physics? Oh yeah, so this Cram Brawler does the thing that, it's a bit of breadboard mixed with ACBs that I cooked up some time ago. Basically, it's timed AP frags when the target is above 80% health, but the moment it drops below 80% health, it switches to hollow point frag with just an inertial fuse and with a narrow angle fragmentation. And the reason for that is timed AP frag is great for disabling stuff. Like, it can cripple things really easily, but it struggles to finish things off, and it makes fights take kind of a long time. But hollow point is just really good at, like, chunking blocks off, and especially against something that's already damaged, it tends to sever things quite nicely. So you'll see that the health is dropping, like, really quickly, and especially against fortresses, because they tend to have, like, what would you call it? Like, essentially beams of blocks that are very vulnerable to thump damage, and you can actually sever chunks of them off if you have a big, burly hollow point damage. Yeah, much like that, actually. You're seeing, like, you can see, like, large chunks of stuff flying off. It's very nice. And Cram Brawler is down 3% health, but basically all of that is just structural blocks all over it, so there's not really any serious damage done. Lots of damage blocks as well, so it's like, I guess survivorship bias is like, if you're seeing, after a fight, blocks that are only damaged, that's actually good. It's if you see destroyed blocks that's a problem. Oh, yes. Chunky, chunky. And this is like, I'm just happy to have something, have figured out a way to make hollow point Cram kind of useful. Because if you use it on its own, it's not that useful. It's just kind of, it's just kind of AP, but worse. It just doesn't penetrate. Oh, delicious. Mmm, lovely. And there we go. There we go. Dropped health. Actually, wow, that whole... I never realized when I first played this, like, that actually severed the lower portion of the HQ. Very nice. Very timely. Did not take a million years. Oh, hey, there's the Before the Dawn. It's here to say hello. Beautiful. My eye hurts. Ouch. Okay. Deep breaths for commentary. And then Raven's Nest is just disintegrating and just all life is good. So technically this was a successful test. I did test the... it did test the latest, like, this Cram Brawler against the Raven's Nest in the designer, but, like, I wanted to test it in the campaign proper, because I couldn't remember what the Raven's Nest tended to spawn with. I believe in the actual Nita campaign it spawns with something that is a little bit too bouncy for Crams to deal with, so... Now I remember where I suspect the Alchemist Nest got updated. I think it was in the off-camera playthrough of Nita I did. So yeah, this little bit of a transition there, and now we've got... And basically I made that laser jet fighter because I was thinking, I do remember the Great Talons having revenge fleets of nukes, so I did want a lasery thing in order to deal with that. And now we've got the Glyptos, which I never really remember. So yeah, this is a missile spamming thing. It's literally just missiles. Very entertaining. And just like Great Talon stuff, it's very annoying. It is yet another flying brick frontsider. I think it's a frontsider. Yep, it's a frontsider. It also rolls like crazy, my goodness. So at this point I was thinking, right, probably it's a good thing very good thing that I didn't send the Before the Dawn. Oh, shut up. Forgot I set that timer. Good thing I didn't set the Before the Dawn, which is only armed with missiles, against this thing that has more interceptors than you can shake a stick at. Like, it's got little sticky flares on them, which, honestly, I think that just looks cool. It's a shame that, like, sticky flares, like, along with radar decoys, they're only really good when they're large, because they just look so cool when you fire them. It's so nice. Also, I think those were not the missiles off the Before the Dawn. I think this thing shot itself, which is very awkward. Very awkward indeed. Whee! Yeah, not much to say here, really. It's just three of my craft ganging up on one Great Talon thing. And this is really, like, laser things do not do well against Great Talon's craft, because I think damn near every one of their craft has smoke on it. Also, they're just very tanky. Look at that front. Warhammer 40k is balls. Can someone in the comments please confirm, are Great Talon's craft meant to be kind of Warhammer 40k inspired? Because I do not know. And the Gremlin is actually getting wrecked. I don't know why those missiles were aiming for the Gremlin. They shouldn't have been, really. It's one of the smaller... As far as radar signatures go, the Gremlin has pretty small radar signature, but I don't know. And there's the Dragon Force. Yep. So Glyptos lost enough blocks to be small enough for the Dragon Force to close in. And I might need to rethink the parameters for that behavior. Because, well, you'll see. Also, Glyptos managed to get an engine pod shot off, and I'm not sure how that happened. So yeah, this is not a good sign for me. Like, the Great Talons are pretty missile and laser resistant. And actually the Great Talons are just resistant to everything overall, so... Yeah, I managed to take on Great Talon stuff just fine in my off-camera playthrough of Nita. But, yeah, might need to up the plasma content of my fleet somehow. How am I going to do that? I don't know. I think I need to go and, the Gojira pack airship, I think I might need to go upgrade that to be pure piercing. Because that might be a good idea. Alright, and there's the Zephyr. So, confession time, I had no idea what the Zephyr was. And this is why, this right here is why it's really, really useful to actually get in there and play the campaign. Because then you realize what is actually a problem and what isn't. So at this point I'm like sending in the Before the Dawn thinking like, alright, this is roughly the same cost, let's see how it does. The Zephyr, as it turns out, is basically just missiles and one very, very rapid-fire APS gun that flies. And that's it. And this is basically the perfect counter to the Before the Dawn, because that's a CWIS, and it will shoot down that entire missile volley every time. And those shells are fast enough to actually damage the Before the Dawn, which not a lot of shells are, honestly. So at this point, I forget when it was, but I realized, like, yeah, no, my bomber cannot win this. I was just ducking in there to see, alright, is this a belt feeder? That definitely fires fast enough to be a belt feeder. But the thought was, like, alright, maybe we can outlast this thing, get it to expend all its shells, and then missile the hell of it. Missile the hell out of it, I should say. And unfortunately, my craft then got blockaded. So it's like, alright, let's see if we can outnumber it a little bit. So at this point I'm like, maybe I'm not ready for the Grey Talons. Which is fine, because in the actual campaign itself, you don't need to be ready for every faction all at once. Because you can be smart. Although I think on the hardest difficulty, they all declare war on you, like, instantly. So that's a problem. I think that is one of the things that happens in the hardest difficulty setting, which I haven't touched for literally years. So I don't know how that works. Also, I forgot to mention that this was played in the stable branch because I thought like, all right, maybe alpha test is making things too buggy, and I mean, to the credit of the game, like, all the fortresses were where they were supposed to be. But we ran into other issues instead, so there's that. And this is simultaneously a demonstration of how lasers do not work great against the Grey Talons, at least lasers that aren't particularly strong. But also showing off how lasers don't care about smoke as much as they used to. And yeah, this is a problem, because our friend here is not the most APS resistant thing in the world, and it's trying to basically tank a minigun. So that's actually something to do, is like rethink circling distance. It should really only close with things that are significantly smaller than it. Yeah, so rethink circling distance, close in only on much smaller stuff. Because, like, this kind of thing, you don't want to close in too close with this. You really don't. This is also a kind of a showcasing of just how good rapid-fire kinetic APS is. Because this thing is pulling double duty as CWIS, and as the main offense of the Zephyr, and it's managing to hold off, like, 2 craft that are roughly the same cost as once. In a sense, it is kind of a hard counter, this, because, well, it's somewhat laser-proof, and it is very much missile-proof, so... But yeah, APS for the win. There's a reason why pretty much everyone and their granny uses APS, because it is the best weapon type overall. It's just so versatile. I don't think any other weapon could do this. Possibly lasers, except lasers are very bulky and expensive. Yeah, and it's just a belt feeder with a lot of belt in it. Just works really well. And there you can see that the laser system on the Dragon Force is actually damaged. There's like a Q switch has been lost, and we're down to 84%. And I was thinking, like, I think it was around here. I was thinking, like, all right, we should probably retreat and cut our losses. But remember, the Before the Dawn is blockaded. It can't run away, and I think I make the sum as like, right, I would rather lose. And right there is like, oh, holy crap. If we get the right angle of it, it can't aim through its own tail, and so we can actually hit it with missiles, which is really sweet. So that moment gave me hope, and then we persisted, and honestly not a good showing for the Metal Fleet that the Zephyr, which is not a godly, I don't think. I don't remember. If anyone remembers, please leave it in the comments below. I think it's a hard craft. Definitely doesn't feel like a medium. The thing ate an entire volley. It's like repeatedly eats an entire volley of large missiles while holding off another craft. It is. This thing is also like. Weirdly enough, it just reminded me that I've done something kind of similar with the. What the hell did I call it? What did I call it? The Icicle, and it's the latest version of that, the Blind Guardian, in which almost all the weaponry on it is doubles as CWIS. Very cost effective. Not great when they manage to tie up your main weaponry, But yeah, it works really damn well. Also, that reminds me, I need to go... Oh dear, there's a lot of work to do. Alright, so... Think. What can we do here? Alright, so... Blind Guardian... Follow... John's... APS advice, because... Regular viewer and patron John McFist. Hello, John. How you doing? Had a look at the Blind Guardian and gave some helpful feedback regarding the main gun in particular. And yeah, the thing is a successful design, but you can always make successful designs more successful, unless it's a paperclip. In which case, at that point, I was like, oh no, yeah, I'm gonna lose it. I'm going to, well, not lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my friggin' lasery thing. So it's like, this might be a good time to retreat, and then, nope, we're gonna lose the bomber, and we don't want to do that. And at this point, I was like, you know what? Let's have a gamble. Let's have a gamble. Let's see if we can deal with this. And well, unfortunately, the answer is that like we're gonna lose one little guy. Managed to get this effort down to 86% health. It's like, yeah, boy, not the best showing. Because I think this thing is, like, actually undercosted us by a considerable degree. Admittedly, the Dragon Force was being very stupid, flying right into gun range. Ironically, doing the kind of thing that I always warn people not to do, which is, like, if you have a fast aircraft, flying directly over the top of something is generally not a good idea. Unless you are bigger and meaner than it is. And even then, if it's a nuke, you really don't want to do that. And at this point it was like, hang on a minute, that gun's not firing continuously anymore, it's kind of spurting. It's like a water gun that's run out of water. Or I guess a regular gun that's run out of bullets. It's like, oh, that is a belt feeder. It's a belt feeder with about a bazillion shells in it. Or maybe that was just damage, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that gun actually managed to not get damaged at all during this whole fight. But yeah, it was a belt feeder. I might need to confirm that. And it ran out of bullets. Just straight up ran out of bullets. Which means that potentially, the Before the Dawn could have soloed this. I think 2 of them absolutely would have done it. Except 2 of them would have been more expensive than the Zephyr by a long shot, so I wouldn't have been able to feel good about that. And yeah, I think also, yeah, this probably was just a bad matchup. I think the Blind Guardian, again, which is more expensive than this, would have done a lot better. Because this thing, the Zephyr, is probably not exactly the most APS-proof thing in the world. There it goes! That was one of the harder fights of this little playthrough. He's jumping up and down for joy, and going and checking on the bomber, and pat, pat, pat. Beautiful. It did occur to me as well, I kind of want to have a go at making a particle cannon a superiority fighter. And I think it would be pretty easy. Like, I could just retrofit not the Blind Guardian, what's it called? I forget the name of my own craft. I could just retrofit the Before the Dawn to, like, lose the missiles, add a steam turbine, and have packs on it, and that possibly could work really well. I probably also would have to jam some general-purpose processing power in there, but I think I've already done that for some reason. I don't remember why, it just kind of has it. Alright, and there, now we're going to take on the second HQ, right there. And Crambola. This time I'm sending the Crambola on their own because I was like, alright, if nukes spawn, we're just going to live with it. And first volley of this whole fight managed to AI kill the Alchemist Lair, which is very, very, very convenient. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. Lovely jubbly splendid. So yeah, that made me feel super confident, and it was very good. Very, very good indeed. Turns out that, like, alright, so I know I was ragging on time to use crams. That is the moment where they're actually really good, is like, because every single one of those cram shots, like, they missed. Not even technically, they did. But they exploded at the right time, and therefore they put nice little holes all the way through our little alchemist friend there. And eventually the Raven... There it is. Raven's Nest. Spooky. Spooky, spooky. And kablooey. Shazumu. Kablooey. So many missiles. Whee! And immediately guns knocked out. Gotta love that. And sizzle, sizzle, because presumably some fuel engines were taken out as well. Or some fuel, I guess. Actually, I just had an idea. Retry flares. Bouncy balance. Just occurred to me that could be a good idea. La 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 la. So once again, this is just cathartic, sweet crammage. Don't you love crammage? That is when crams do damage. It is known as crammage. And kablooey, and also kablooey. Also, in case you're wondering why those two crams hit the same spot, I found with this fella, because he moves around so much, if the guns switch target every 1 second, it means they sometimes get stuck in a loop where they never fire, which is a problem. We don't like that. So the thing has, probably for the first time, like, ever for one of my craft, it changes block targets every 2 seconds. Rather than every 1 second. Or the other extreme. I tend to do, with aim point selection, switch every 1 second, or switch every 60 seconds, depending on whether the thing, on whether the weapon fires slowly, and whether it's hit scan or not. If it has high enough muzzle velocity, or is hit scan, 60 seconds is just great because it just drills into the target. But 1 second is great for crams because it means it just increases their chance of actually hitting the target at all and hitting something vital. Because when you have fragmentation like that, it really does. It really doesn't matter where you hit; you're gonna clip something important. And this time, I think the cram brawler came off a little worse with those missile volleys. Because, lost a barrel or two. Well, not lost a barrel. Barrel got snubbed. Yeah. In case you're wondering, also, I tested it. What is that? There's a white flare godly I tested this crambola against, and it just did very poorly, even though it was more expensive than it, and it was a ship it was fighting, because, dear, I need to... Hold on. Did I do the... Right, I've already got a note here. There is a thing you can do with breadboard, which you set it up so that you can reduce the firing rate of local weapon controllers, controlling weapons, based on whether the vehicle is moving forwards or backwards. And it actually kind of works pretty well. Tested it out before, on this even. And I had that on this, and then I removed it, because I thought it was breaking the guns, but it wasn't, that wasn't the culprit. It was the synchronized fire that was messing up. I hate synchronized fire. I'm just gonna say it. I think it's very, very finicky, and I really wish that just simple firing delays were added back into the game. I don't think there was any reason to remove them. Like, you can have both. You can have options. We have ACBs and breadboard, after all. Options, options. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. That would be complainy. That would be painy complainy, and we don't do that around here. We don't complain. We give valid criticism and informed opinions. And it sounds like whine, 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 whine. Sounds like a mosquito. Okay, I'm not going to do that. That is definitely going to make someone click off this video. Deacon's hell. And yes, sweet, sweet crammage. Yay, crammage. Oh, it's so satisfying. When it crams actually do something and just have those big damage numbers. Ay, ay, ay. Like, for those of you who never use cram cannons, this is why we cram gunners do it. Because, yeah, they miss a lot. They can literally miss stationary targets. But man, when they actually hit and do something, it feels so good. There's so much block confetti. And yep, once again, we've switched to hollow points. Yep, below 80% health. And I think the Raven's Nest isn't even firing back anymore. I think maybe a laser transmitter got knocked out somewhere. Not laser transmitter. Wireless transmitter got knocked out somewhere, which seems to happen fairly often. Kablooey. And there's the initial fuse. Going kablooey, going, and that missed. But this big block confetti. Ooh, look at that. Like, this is how far, like, this is going pretty quickly by destroying the Raven's Nest standards. I think it can usually take about, like, 10 minutes or something for something to kill it. And I need to double check the cost of the Raven's Nest. Herp derp. I think it's more expensive than the Cram Brawler. I think it is. Honestly, I should put lasers on the Cram Brawler. Like, lasers and Cram is a pretty good weapon combination, because both of them compensate for each other's weaknesses. And lasers? Yeah, I want to add lasers. I want to add the lasers. Ah, yes, so much damage. And yep, entire compartments falling off there. That's hollow point frag for you. And yeah, that's it. That's it. The thing is basically dead. I think it's AI dead, actually. Yep. Yep. Cram Brawler is not aiming. And then we just sit there and we get to watch the disintegration, and the campaign can continue. That's 2 fortresses down, 2 more to go. Lovely, lovely. So yeah, you probably wonder why I said that, given that the video is almost over. Well, there is a reason for that. Just as I was basking in my victory here, just watching another Raven's Nest disintegrate. Also, yeah, like, I wonder why revenge fleets don't spawn in this mini-campaign, because I think revenge fleets are cool. It's a great way to stop the player, like, bum-rushing everything, and it kind of compensates for the fact that the From the Net's AI is kind of dumb. And, like, shout out to Aperture Gaming and his campaign, the Caravan Rebellion, which uses revenge fleets a lot, and it makes the campaign very fun and interesting as a direct result of that, aside from the submarine swarms. But that's on me. I chose to fight a giant swarm of submarines, and I didn't have to. Anyway, so this screen popped up. Too bad the message was to be written later in brief, you win. That, I don't know what happened there. And I actually loaded my save and tried destroying that HQ again, and it didn't work. Like, it literally didn't work. Like, see, I loaded again, and I was like, huh? And at this point, like, I realized, like, hang on a minute, I don't want to show people that whole fight again, so I just kind of, do it again, do that whole fight again, and same thing happened. Like, the game, like, I had a mission over screen, so I was like, you know what, I've tested my Cram Brawler, the Gary Bear Claw, to satisfaction. I've got stuff to do on it, and yeah, this campaign, it's broken. I don't know if, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I guess I could have tried to destroy the other HQs first, and then gone back for that one, but yeah, it's like, I don't know what's going on there. Like, I don't know. Has anyone else experienced that? Is that just me? Is it because I've been switching back and forth between alpha and stable or something? I don't know. But anyway, to be written like, in brief, you win? Like, was that supposed to be a win screen? I don't know. So somebody tell me what's going on, please. I'm very confused. In any case, that's the last campaign commentary we're going to be doing for a while. The next campaign stuff I do will be Godly Neater. We can finally start that. And we'll see how it goes. I might lose horribly. And then I'll try again, as you do. So thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Like access to a Patreon-exclusive Discord, we can hang out with me and other cool people, like people who give feedback, and John McFist, which is the most action movie name I've ever heard in my life. And there's other perks as well. At higher tiers, I will review your craft for you. I'll build stuff for you. I've got a thing to go build in the works. Actually now, I should probably get cracking on it. We're almost halfway through the month. Yikes. And there's also building events, which are super fun. And people seem to like watching the resulting craft collections on the channel, which is very, very nice. Very encouraging. And I stream from the depths on Twitch. Come along, say hi, subscribe to the VOD channel. It helps a lot. And yeah, happy great talent hunting, and I'll see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell.